A quick update video on Bitcoin and Ethereum, my dears, because a lot has happened since my last video. We're going to take a look at the liquidation zone. As you can see, I've already marked 2 more new liquidation zones here. One at a net $170,000. It's going to be very, very exciting. I show you that on the heat map as well. Why? How come? Even though this looks very small in this cluster, in the last video on the 2-week liquidation heat map, we had a massive amount at $103,000 net, which has now partly disappeared. That means some people have closed their long positions. It's the same with Ethereum. You might remember we had an incredible number of billions in liquidations, around $2,300, but these have now also dropped significantly. That means a lot of people have closed their long positions. What could be the reason for this? If we take a look, Trump posted something again today. First of all, and I think this is the most important, he wrote, "Tomorrow morning we will release at least 7 countries related to trade, and in the afternoon more countries." And it will be very, very interesting to see exactly what he means by that. Will this turn out to be positive or negative? Might he perhaps impose new tariffs on other countries, which could indicate that the market might even go down, since some long positions have been closed here? Or could it actually be something a bit positive? We know there has been a long period of calm, but you know how quickly things can change when news comes in and how the market can react to it. He also made another post stating that he has sent out several letters to different countries and that the tariffs will really come into effect and have to be paid starting from the 1st of August. There is nothing to change about this date and nothing will change. That means it could possibly be negative. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, let's take a look at the price. Here we see Bitcoin. We see Bitcoin right now at around $109,300, and that is of course really, really amazing. Even though we're at just under $110,000, the market currently feels so boring and almost depressing. What I'm seeing right now is that Bitcoin has even had a slight breakout above this price range here, so above this resistance it had, which it's just breaking through. That means we could actually see new higher prices now, and the first level for me is around $111,600. And we'll take a look at this price range. You can see how it's glowing here on the liquidation heat map. At $116,000 I might see a temporary stop, but I've marked something else for you as well. We still have quite a bit more up to around $113,600. And if we look at the 3-month view on the liquidation heat map, which is something you rarely do, but if you take a look here, you can see that there are liquidations up to $113,675. However, this first cluster is crucial for me, which is also why I'm opening short positions here. And you can also see that here on Bitunix, if I scroll in a bit, I've also opened new long positions. So the one at 103,000 I closed beforehand, as I mentioned in my last video, but at 111,500 and at 112,700 I have 2 short positions, but with only low leverage. And then there are also the 2 long positions down here. Why the one at 117,000? We'll go through that as well. And you can see here I've already placed some limit orders. I'll just make myself a bit smaller for a moment so you can see it a bit better. I've actually placed several long limit orders for Ethereum. Why is that? We'll go through that as well. But I also have both long and short limit orders for Bitcoin, simply because I want to take advantage of this market right now and to be able to realize profits in case of a correction. And if we now look at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, and this is the interesting part, we actually have an incredibly strong cluster at $117,000, where I'll be opening the next long position, but I also have orders set even further below. That's why there are still quite a few orders placed here, down to around 116,000, but also $115,000. You shouldn't rely solely on the cluster. Nevertheless, at $117,000, as you can see here, I'll be opening my first long position. At 116,300, I'll compound this position and add to it again. And that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve here with this liquidation heat map, so that in the event of a possible correction, I have new long positions that I can then close higher up. That would be in this area. However, if we first move up and then drop, I'll of course look to take the short positions and keep an eye out for new liquidations. It's similar with Ethereum. So the $2,300 level isn't as relevant as it was before. If we look at the 1 week or 3-day chart, we'll see in a moment that we have a new cluster at around $2,460. And that's exactly what's interesting to me, why I currently have 2 Ethereum long positions at $2,468 and $2,440, each with only 6x leverage, but also for compounding and to see how the market reacts from there. but those are my next targets for a long position. Ethereum is very, very interesting right now. Unfortunately, I can't find the post anymore. There was news that a huge company sold all its bitcoins and shifted everything into Ethereum, and we're talking about several $100 million. Let's continue right away with Ethereum. Looking at the liquidation zones, we still have something around $2,360, but the new cluster in this area is now super interesting to me, especially for opening new long positions here. Now we have to keep watching, because with Ethereum, we want to make sure it doesn't form a new divergence or anything like that. We're seeing massively rising prices, gradually moving into the highs, but the RSI hasn't quite caught up yet. And in this price range, you can see that the RSI is at least trying to form a consistent high, while the price itself is still rising. This means that we could actually see a bearish divergence here, and we might go down again. What I'd like to see is for this yellow line here, the dotted one, to be broken to the upside, because that's a small resistance here, as you can see here in the past, that we should break through upwards. We were rejected everywhere here, consistently in this price range. And that's why it would be interesting if we could break through exactly this price range of, what is it? Around $2,680 to the upside, because then the way would be clear again into my key level here, which I'm extending further to see if we can get above it again. The next target would then be $2,800. But I also feel like things are pumping right now, but the big surprise, yes, the real big surprise at the moment is XRP. XRP is really taking off, which is great to see, but with XRP, it also means we need to be careful because we have a rising price and a falling RSI here. That should at least be confirmed now, which would be super interesting so that we can see XRP rise even higher. That means first of all the $2, which I have written in here, $2.47, breaking through that to the upside, that's this last high here. Because all the other highs, as you can see here, have now been broken to the upside, but now the $2.47 are interesting. And if XRP reaches that, then this possible divergence here on the 4-hour chart would at least be invalidated. That's why it will be interesting to see whether this happens now or if this divergence is already enough to trigger another correction. But actually XRP has made a clean move, a slight breakout from the downtrend channel, and in fact it has really respected this trend line, the support line, very strongly and has now gained 7% here in a very short time. What you really need to watch out for with XRP at the moment is also the liquidation heat map. There's an incredible amount sitting here at around $2.20. For XRP this is lighting up like crazy right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything as long as we keep pumping. Despite all that, I would enter new longs for myself in this price range. I've already done that on Bitget as well, there are limit orders placed there. If we reach that level, then that's where I would open new long positions. To wrap things up, here's a quick update on my trading bots. You know, I created this spot grid bot, a neutral one. It's currently at 3.20% profit, having made nearly $80. Very, very good. And here are my spot martingale bots as well, which are working incredibly well. One of them is at 15% and another one after 7 cycles has generated $35. This is a $10,000 bot. Yes, it's also only been active for a very short time. This one is also working wonderfully. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Also, please leave a like on this video and maybe even a comment. And if you're interested in these trading bots, the ones I just showed, then check out the video I've linked up here. In that video, I explain everything in detail, including my approach. With that, see you next time. Ciao, ciao.